I chose a poem by Theodore Roethke, The Geranium. It is absolutely, it is absolutely the most, the poem that is the most I can't talk. The Geranium, pivotal. Okay. In 1964, I was 12 years old, or 11, and had the great luck to have an English teacher who put the just published book, The Far Field by Theodore Roethke, in my hands. And I was in my bedroom, posters on the wall of those singing nuns. Remember Dominica, Nika, Nika? Those posters on the wall, yellow bedroom, and I was just leafing through the book, and I came across this poem, The Geranium. I had just started to write poetry and already considered myself a poet. The Geranium. When I put her out once by the garbage pail, she looked so limp and bedraggled, so foolish and trusting, like a sick poodle or a wizened aster in late September. I brought her back in again for a new routine, vitamins, water, and whatever sustenance seemed sensible at the time. She'd lived so long on gin, bobby pins, half-smoked cigars, dead beer, her shriveled petals falling on the faded carpet, the stale steak grease stuck to her fuzzy leaves. Dried out, she creaked like a tulip. The things she endured, the dumb dame shrieking half the night, or the two of us alone, both seedy, me breathing booze at her, she leaning out of her pot toward the window. Near the end, she seemed almost to hear me, and that was scary. So when that snuffling cretin of a maid threw her, pot and all, into the trash can, I said nothing. But I sacked the presumptuous hag the next week. I was that lonely. So I want to go through the experience of not the adult reader, but the 12-year-old young poet reading this poem. And when I got to, I think where it really kicked into me for the first time, what I remember is when I got to the word whatever. As a young reader, I remember noticing this, that whatever went with vitamins, water, and whatever, and then it carried over to sustenance. I did not yet know the word enjambment, but I understood how that was working. Okay, so then I carried on. At the time, she'd lived so long on gin, bobby pins, half-smoked cigars, dead beer. Ha ha, I thought it was funny. On the faded carpet, the stale steak grease, very vivid, I was with it. Dried out, she creaked, I thought that was great. The things she endured, great. The dumb dame shrieking, I was with it. And then I stopped again at both seedy. And I knew what seedy meant, even at 12, because my uncle owned a jazz club in Boston called the Hi-Hat, which used to be very famous. But my mother referred to it then as, it's so seedy, because it had gone down. So I got the pun, and that really excited me. And I kept reading, me breathing booze at her, she leaning out of her pot toward the window, saw it, everything, saw it, great. Near the end, she seemed almost to hear me. And that was scary. And at that point, something huge happened to me. I actually heard him say it. And that had never happened to me in any experience of reading. I heard that man, Theodore Roethke, I had no idea, but I heard him talking to me on my bed. He was right there. And I said, and I remember this, I said, he can do that? And I answered it, I can do that. And that was, I can make someone hear me. What I write can be heard by the person who is reading it to themselves. And that was remarkable. It was remarkable. I stopped, I thought about it, and this poem is responsible for the writer I became and for the reader that I became. And I owe it so much. And that's really, when I got the assignment to come up with a beloved poem and talk about it, a poem that was influential, this is it. This is it. I talk about it all the time. I talk about it at fundraising events for my press. I talk about it all the time. And I think about it all the time. So that's my...
Thank you.
It's perfect.